Borno and Yobe as requested by the federal government. Senate President David Mark announced this after a closed session by the lawmakers where President Jonathan's request to that effect was discussed.
Those in favor that the Senate do invoke the powers conferred on it by Section 305, subsections 2 and 6b of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and approve the proclamation of the state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states of Nigeria by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Senator Mark described the decisive action by the federal government as imperative and worthy of support equal to the near state of lawlessness attained in the affected areas. The Senate, he however said, insists that the democratic structures must be allowed to function in the affected states while the Presidential Committee on Amnesty continues its work.
Also would like to remind the President, Commander-in-Chief, that the federal government must fund the operations there properly and adequately. As the operation is going on, relief materials and all medical materials should be as quickly as possible moved to the area. We want to appeal to the Boko Haram insurgents and terrorists that is still not too late to cooperate with the forces that are there in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe State so that we can bring this to a logical conclusion as quickly as possible.
President of the Senate on the Senate on the state of emergency declared in 3 states of the Federation. The Brigade Commander 23 Ahmad Yola, Brigadier General Fatai Oladepo Ali, has warned soldiers posted to Adamawa State against harassing innocent citizens. This was while addressing troops from the 174 Battalion posted to the state following the declaration of the state of emergency by President Goodluck Jonathan. Achari Maxwell has the details.
It was a long journey for the troops as they came all the way from Lagos State with a stopover in the FCT before arriving Yola at 12:45 midnight. Although it was an ungodly hour, journalists on special assignments were at hand when they arrived. Addressing the troops at the parade ground of the 23 Armored Brigade Yola, the brigade commander, Brigadier General Fatai Oladepo Ali, told them that ensuring peace and security in the state is a serious business, hence the need for them to discharge their responsibilities with high sense of discipline and professionalism. The commander seriously warned them against harassing innocent citizens while carrying out their mandate.
We are here to support the state of emergency that was declared by the President and Commander-in-Chief and help us to maintain peace and security in Adamawa State. As you are all aware, the northeastern part of the country has been bedeviled by insecurity caused by the terrorist elements that have been disturbing us. We are here to ensure that that insecurity is stopped.
Brigadier General Fatai Oladepo Ali commended the people of Adamawa State for being law-abiding and solicited for continued support and cooperation to the security agencies, as well as ensure complete obedience throughout the period of the emergency rule declared in the state. In Yola, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
The Defense Headquarters has also debunked speculations in a section of the media which suggests that there is a planned withdrawal of Nigerian troops from Mali for internal security. A statement from the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Lukolade, says the scheduled rotation of troops in various missions is ongoing and should not be misunderstood or misrepresented to Nigerians and the international community. While assuring Nigerians of its professional capabilities, the Defense Headquarters also cautions against unguided utterances on military affairs, particularly in what it describes as sensitive times. Plans are at advanced stage to ensure that the 2015 general elections are more credible than those conducted in 2011. INEC Chairman Professor Atairu Jega gave the assurance at the two-day multi-stakeholders forum on the tasks and responsibilities of stakeholders towards the election. The report. To advance electoral reforms ahead of 2015 elections, Democratic Governance for Development, in collaboration with INEC and other stakeholders, are meeting on how to promote inclusive, transparent and sustainable electoral processes in Nigeria. The theme is tasks and responsibilities towards 2015 elections.
The weakness in the constitutional and legal framework of election, the negative influence of money politics, weak political party structure.
I believe that all stakeholders should strive to develop strategic engagement for the next 22 months to meet the electoral challenges facing Nigeria.
INEC Chairman Professor Atairu Jega, in a message, noted that continuous voter registration, permanent voters' cards to Nigerians, review of electoral legal framework and execution of constituency delimitation are part of steps being taken to ensure free and fair 2015 elections.
The Commission is at all times ready to listen to suggestions from all stakeholders in the political and electoral process towards improving and perfecting our electoral system.
The Council of Development High Commission of Canada, David Ross, is worried that women representation is yet to cut across board. Independent National Electoral Commission says it has already set machinery in motion to ensure that the much talked about 2015 elections is not only credible but also transparent to all the stakeholders involved. In Abuja, Femi Johnson. Still on political matters, the All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA has inaugurated a 20-man rebuilding and crisis review committee to fashion out ways of repositioning the party for future elections. The national chairman of APGA, Chief Victor Ume, charged the committee not to allow selfish interest override the task before them. The report. Inaugurating the committee, APGA national chairman says there is the need to rebuild the party in truth and justice as APGA continues to be a major player in Nigeria's political space. Chief Victor Ume identified selfish interest by those sponsoring the crisis and gross disrespect for party's constitution as what is responsible for the present state of affairs. He therefore urged the committee to find out why.
Through the works of this committee, the future of this party will be bright, and any lost glory by the party will be regained.
It's wonderful that we extend the opportunity to those who have been erring to come back to the fold.
The chairman of the committee, Ziggy Azike, promised that they will not disappoint the party.
I want to assure you that we are going to reach out to all our members.
We want to see an APGA of today, APGA of tomorrow, and APGA of future.
We're open to new membership, and we're committed to developing this party to greater heights.
So what does the committee has 2 weeks within which to submit its report. In Abuja. You're watching NTA Nationwide, and time now to join Jennifer in Lagos for more reports.
Thank you, Femi. Welcome to Lagos, and thank you for joining us. A case has been made for the setting up of climate tribunals to try those who violate the environment through degradation and massive pollution. An environmental expert and director health of Mother Earth Foundation made the call at the opening of a training course on climate change organized by the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Vera Chimuba has more.
Issues on environment and its devastating effects have continued to dominate discussions both at local and international fora. Nigeria is contending with flood, gas flaring, desertification, coastal erosion with attendant sea level rise. These issues, Nemo Bassi say, must be tackled through adequate financing for climate mitigation and adaptation.
Nigeria has enough resources to take real action on global warming, to mitigate and also to create adaptation measures. Our government needs to take real steps to stop the things that are adding to global warming. Number one is to stop gas flaring.
It will also afford the experts opportunity to revisit some of the issues that may have to do with the state of the law at the moment and what can be done to review and reform the law, and possibly also to identify best practices.
Rivers and Ekiti State's Commissioners for Environment say environmental issues should be tackled holistically.
The current policies in place made by the federal government does not serve our purpose. It doesn't address peculiar issues of the state, a hydrocarbon-based state where most of the oil hazards occur.
We can, as a nation, address this issue holistically, dictating what we think would benefit our environment specifically.
Environment dispute resolution, enforcement and compliance are among the issues to be discussed. In Lagos, Viera Chinwoba, NTA News.
The need to protect intellectual properties have once again been emphasized. The chairman, Norwegian Copyright Development Association, Professor Helge Ronin, made the emphasis at a lecture organized by the Copyright Society of Nigeria in Lagos. The report.
The lecture attracted stakeholders in the Nigerian creative sector, captains of industry, government officials, as well as educational instructors. The aim of the lecture was to sensitize the public on the economic significance of intellectual properties. The guest speaker, Professor Helge Ronin, explained that the Nigerian creative industry must be developed as talents must not be exploited.
Cultural industries are concerned with the generation and publication of symbolic meaning. Cultural activities whose primary purpose is to communicate symbolic ideas and meanings play a central role in our ability to communicate and thus in the freedom of human expression.
The chairman, Copyright Society of Nigeria, Chief Tony Okorodi, told NTA News that our legislatures backing the rights of creative works produced by Nigerian artists as a whole. This, it says, covers the theatre, movie, music, arts and forms, among others.
That Nigeria must begin to deal with intellectual property as important as anyone else or anything else, because the future of our nation depends on the creativity of our young people. We have shown that with what has happened with the revolution in Nigerian music.
So much want jobs to be created in this country to our teeming unemployed youth, and the role of the creativity industry in the creation and generation of employment among youth has been very well highlighted.
Speakers at the forum also noted that the unifying features of the creative industry is relevant to national development, as jobs and wealth will be created for economic advancement.
The plight of widows and orphans in Nigeria has continued to elicit sympathy and concern on the need for stricter regulations to protect the rights of widows and orphans. Jane Ojukwu reports that a publication to sensitize stakeholders on their various roles towards realizing the objective is underway.
Some obnoxious customs and tradition in most African countries put widows and orphans at a very sympathetic condition. From confiscation of a deceased property by relatives to compelling of a widow to shave her hair, the list is endless. Blessing Okoro is a widow with 2 children. An indigene of Abia State, she lost her husband about 20 years ago. Adewumi Ableto's experience as a widow is not different. She lost her husband in 2002. Their plight attracted the attention of a foundation interested in alleviating the sufferings of widows and orphans.
Been supportive. They've been, assisting in terms of school fees, in terms of, giving out business, contracts.
They are paying the school fees for my children. They pay house rent. Even now, my house burnt down. They are the people who come pay the house rent.
About 1,000 widows and their children are already being catered for by the Rose of Sharon's Foundation. In the meantime, a book titled The Cry of Widows and Orphans is being put together to further impact on the lives of widows and orphans in Nigeria and Africa through advocacy and appropriate legislation.
We want to use the book to knock on doors, to wake people up from their slumber.
The Cry of Widows and Orphans will enlighten widows on their rights, draw the attention of the world to their plights, and sensitize all stakeholders on their expected roles towards alleviating their sufferings. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
The increasing rate of cardiovascular conditions among youth and the elderly across the country has continued to receive attention in the country. One of such is coming from a non-governmental organization that is saddled with the responsibility of sensitizing the public, especially the youth, on the dangers and risk factors of cardiovascular condition. Lynn Leneke reports.
The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 17.1 million people across the world are at risk of coming down with cardiovascular diseases and its associated illness such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and stroke, among others. Against this backdrop, a non-governmental organization organized an awareness outreach for social workers, young girls, and adults on the prevalence and dangers of the disease.
Starting from the secondary school, for them to adjust a healthy lifestyle, so that by the time they get from 25 to 30, they must have known the risk factors of health disease. Thereby, we are also creating a healthy future in Nigeria tomorrow.
A cardiovascular consultant explained that adherence to the ABC of the risk factors can go a long way in reducing the prevalence of the disease.
The idea also is to get them to have this information to pass to their families, because we know that sometimes children are a very important agent for change.
The non-governmental organization advocates the total commitment of families and religious groups in taking action to create awareness.
And with the preventions we've gotten now, we'll know we'll avoid smoking for those who smoked before. We'll avoid smoking and we'll do the regular fitness we're supposed to do, and we eat more vegetables and fruits.
Organizers say the answer to the puzzle of solving this menace lies in the hands of Nigerians. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Lynn's report wraps up our contribution from Lagos. It's now back to you, Femi, for more on nationwide news.
Thank you, Jennifer. As the 66th World Health Assembly opens, the Director General of the World Health Organization urges nations to adopt the right policy options for non-communicable disease control. The organization, she says, will never have dealings with tobacco industries because of their contributions to the rise of non-communicable diseases. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah reports from Geneva, Switzerland, venue of the meeting.
The World Health Organization Director General, who came down heavily on tobacco production industries, stressed that there is neither a safe tobacco production nor a safe level of consumption.
The response to NCDs depend on prevention, but also on clinical care. Clinical care which are cost-effective and financially sustainable.
Noting that insecurity continues to hamper polio eradication efforts, the organization and the assembly, she says, mourn health workers who lost their lives. Universal health coverage, she pointed out, reflects the need to maximize health outcome for everyone. Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, who led the Nigerian delegation, while addressing the assembly, enumerated various strategies that the country has put in place towards ensuring adequate health care.
that Nigeria remains committed to the control of non-communicable diseases. We have recently completed the revision of our anti-tobacco bill, making it now extremely more stringent to ensure that we will disincentivize the production, distribution, and use of tobacco and tobacco products. That bill is now being returned to the National Assembly for passage. And along with our development partners, we have recently concluded the Global Adult Tobacco Survey, and the result will be formally presented by our President.
Urging nations to ensure that health occupies topmost priority on the development agenda. Good health, the WHO Director General says, can be achieved at no cost if the right policies are put in place. From Geneva, Switzerland, this is Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
And to education matters now, Education Minister Professor Rukayat Rufai has urged state governments and corporate organizations to partner with the federal government in establishing more computer-based test center for smooth conduct of JAMB examinations. She stated this while monitoring the conduct of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations through computer-based tests. Franca Uzomolua reports.
Shams City, Abuja, is one of the 56 centers for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations, UTME computer-based test. The center accommodates 341 candidates for the morning and evening sessions, among them 2 foreigners.
So how are you finding the exam, this new process? Normal, good, eh? I like the word normal.
Education Minister Professor Rukayatu Rufai was accompanied by Chairman House Committee on Education, Aminu Suleiman Boro, to monitor the examinations.
We are really encouraged because by interacting with the students, they appear to be happy, and they always, throughout the round that we went, they have been indicating that they prefer the computer-based testing.
From what we heard from members of the public, I was expecting to come and see maybe an empty hall, but I came and met a very enthusiastic student who are even saying that this system is more preparable.
JAMB Registrar Professor Dibu Ojerinde said questions for the examinations were set from the base and received within 3 minutes.
It's so advantageous taking the CBT. There's nothing like malpractice, there's nothing like missing result, there's nothing like, I don't know, everything is computerized and no cheating.
91,610 candidates applied for the computer-based test. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a 5-man panel to undertake a comprehensive audit of staff and students of the University of Abuja has been inaugurated by the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman Governing Council of the University. Olayinka Ojo reports that a period of 6 weeks has also been given to the panel to carry out their assignment.
Members of the audit panel to be chaired by Professor Abdullahi Yusuf Ribadu, Chairman of the Governing Council, University of Abuja, Dr. Samuel Bumudia, said it is based on the letter received from the National Universities Commission on the 30th of April 2013. While calling on the audit panel members to adhere to the 9 terms of reference developed by the NUC, which includes determining the number of academic and non-academic staff, the regularities of their appointments, qualification and dates obtained, productivity and career progression, number of students, the regularity of admissions and their different programs, recommendation on other issues the panel consider relevant to the assignment, among others. Dr. Gbomodia added that the assignment will give the Council the best opportunity to launch out its agenda of regeneration and growth to take University of Abuja to greater heights.
Planning without statistics is as good as a failure to plan.
Chairman of the audit panel, Professor Abdullahi Ribadu, promised not to let the government down. Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, Professor Sunday James Adelabu, also promised to provide the panel members with necessary logistic support. The exercise is presently ongoing in all government universities in the country. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Still on education matters, the National Universities Commission has closed down an illegal university in Asaba. The illegal institution was operating as an affiliate of the Imo State University. Aloho Abra reports.
A team of NUC officials, accompanied by officials of ICPC, carried out the closure of illegal institution, which used 3 rooms as its office block.
Move in here, move. To that room. Somebody walk out. Somebody do something outside.
The program director, who is also a serving officer of Nigerian Prison Service, Mr. Onugwa Benson, admitted that they have been asked to close down since last year.
We were asked to close down last year. We didn't admit any students. We don't have any fresh students. We're only graduating the ones we have.
The director of the illegal campus and some of his staff were taken away for further interrogation. The illegal Imo State University Asaba Satellite Campus opened in 2008 in Asaba. Elo Agbra, NTA News.
Governor Ramalan Yero of Kaduna State advises judges on quick dispensation of justice. This is coming from Kaduna, and Jumoke is standing by as our guide. Jumoke, it's over to you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Kaduna. Governor Mukhtar Ramalan Yero of Kaduna State has sworn in 3 additional judges for the State High Courts. Correspondent Suleiman Abdullahi Rigatikun reports that the governor advised the judges to intensify efforts in the quick dispensation of justice.
3 High Court
Court judges sworn in were Rabi Udabo, Samuel Sambo Daka, and Garba Aliu Abdu. Governor Mukhtar Malanyero, who presided over the swearing-in ceremony, reminded judicial officers to be fair and just in the discharge of their constitutional responsibilities for the good of the common man and to work towards sanitizing the society.
And we hope with you we'll be able to make a lot of differences. Help us sanitize our society. Please help us to sanitize the system. If you do that, it's going to help us a lot.
The sworn-in judicial officers promised to work without fear or favor. Also sworn in was David Audu Chadok from Kachia local government area as commissioner to Kaduna state government.
Carry your people along and you listen to them and you take advices and you also give advice to the governor as well as to the executive council.
In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkun, NTA News.
The Commissioner of Police, Kaduna State, Olufemi Adenaike, has reaffirmed the determination of the police to fight crimes in all parts of the state. The Commissioner was speaking while parading suspected armed robbers, cattle rustlers, and car snatchers in Kaduna. Correspondent Clement Olorutoba completes this report.
Who specialized in car snatching, cattle rustling, and armed robbery were paraded before newsmen, from whom the police recovered 5 locally made guns, 3 cutlasses, and 60 cartridges. The police commissioner Olufemi Adenake affirmed that police is on top of security in the state.
The state